Hi, and welcome today to St. Lucie County Extension. I want to welcome you to this segment. I have a special guest with me today. My name is Kate Rotundo. I'm the Urban Horticulture Agent for St. Lucie County IFAS Extension. Danielle, thank you so much for being with us today. And we're going to talk a little bit about the UF-IFAS St. Lucie County Master Gardener Program. One of the reasons I'm excited to talk to Danielle today is to highlight some of the really awesome things that our volunteers do in our community. But I think it's probably helpful before we talk about them is just to give folks a little bit at home, give them a little bit of background about what we do at Extension. So I'll start us off. Me being the urban horticulture agent, I mostly deal with educational programming efforts for our county residents, teaching best management practices in the landscape, helping to identify pests and diseases and things that maybe go wrong in the landscape. But both of us work a lot with our community partners in horticulture education. So I also teach our Master Gardener volunteers. But Danielle, I'm really happy that you're here today so we can talk about more of the what you do as our volunteer coordinator. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Part of my job is really to speak to our recruit our volunteers, speak with them, and get some opportunities in the community for them to volunteer and help maintain gardens in our area. And speak to our community about what goes wrong in their landscaping and in their gardens.
Yeah, which can happen sometimes. We have a lot of challenges, I think, gardening and landscaping in Florida.
Sure.
We have a lot of folks that maybe are new to the area, and our Master Gardeners are definitely there to educate them, first of all.
Absolutely.
But some of the places that we might, have our volunteers out in the community, tell us a little bit about that, maybe where you might run into them.
Yeah, so you'll definitely see our Master Gardeners in the community. They like to help out at our botanical gardens, Heathcote and Fort Pierce, and we also have the botanical gardens in Port St. Lucie, so you'll see the Master Gardeners helping there. They also are part of our help desk, so residents can email our Master Gardeners to have questions regarding landscaping, plants, pests that are in their landscaping. We also have a nursery that is completely volunteer run, where they can help propagate plants, with native plants and so forth. So they're pretty much everywhere in our community.
Right.
Florida does have some challenges with some landscaping. So our Master Gardeners are, they're part of our school programs, educational programs, libraries and in schools. So.
Yeah, there are a lot in the community. I mean, St. Lucie County is a big county.
It is.
But we're very fortunate to have 2 botanical gardens within our county. Not everyone has even one. But we have 2, and like you mentioned, some of the places that they help with. One of the things I think is interesting is the help desk, because that's really where one-on-one education can happen with our volunteers and perhaps a resident. With COVID-19 being around and our new future and things are a little bit different, that help desk is really important with email and phone calls, because those volunteers can really provide that research-based information and the local science that we get from University of Florida to help our residents have some success, because there's nothing worse than trying to garden and trying to landscape, and it's frustrating sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But one of the other things that our volunteers and you and I do in the community is educating our residents about water conservation in the landscape, and some of those water quality issues that are tied together, and maybe some of the behaviors that we do or decisions that we make in the landscape really do affect our water quality and the water conservation that we have. One of the other things that you mentioned was that volunteer-run nursery that we have.
Yes.
We're also very fortunate at St. Lucie County Extension Office. Our campus is very large.
Oh, yes.
And we have many demonstration gardens, but our nursery is really pretty cool, because that is, you and I obviously oversee the program.
Yes, we do.
But it's completely volunteer run. And I know with like I mentioned, COVID being around and in our new future of the new normal, that nursery is where we have our plant sales normally.
Yes.
But things have been placed on hold and perhaps will be a different format in the future. That's all kind of a fluid plan. But tell me a little bit about, I know your background is a lot in fundraising.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about those fundraisers that we do have in our community, that plant sale kind of concept, and maybe what those funds are used for.
Sure. So our signature fundraiser is really, like you mentioned, our plant sales. We hold those traditionally twice a year, and it's a place and a time where residents can come to the grounds and purchase plants at a reasonable price, and able to speak to our master gardeners and also receive educational materials on their landscaping, on the plants, or just in general if they have questions regarding their landscaping, or what do I do if, or I have this growing.
Right.
They're there to answer those questions. So the fundraiser that we have is the plant sale, so hopefully we can eventually have those back down the line.
Right.
But the money that is raised from those plant sales it goes towards scholarships for local high school and college students. And it's an important aspect of the program as it aims to extend the educational opportunities to the students. And it also goes towards our operating budget for the Master Gardener program.
Right.
So raising those dollars is critical. It's very important.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that our volunteers feel really passionate about is passing along that education, specifically the horticultural and environmental science education, but having IRSC, our local high schools.
Yeah.
We even have the Indian River Research and Education Center. So in St. Lucie County, we have a lot of opportunities for students, whether high school or college students that need some assistance.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of a really good thing to mention because it's so important. College and things are really expensive.
It really
so
is.
anything that could help our students in our local community is really helpful. But plant sales are really fun.
They are.
They really, I think people get excited because we have good prices.
We do.
We have good prices, but we have some interesting plant species that maybe you can't find at big box stores, things like that. But our volunteers, as you know, are very passionate about
They are very passionate.
the landscape, ornamental landscape plants, and the knowledge they get to share at the things like plant sales. But I think those fundraising opportunities are really important. But it is, like we mentioned, our physical programming is changing and has changed due to COVID-19 situation. Hasn't really stopped our work at all.
Absolutely not. We're still going.
Exactly. But our physical programming has changed a little bit, and part of that is our plant sales. But maybe we can talk a little bit about, because I know you're really great with social media and marketing. Your creative side comes out with all of our flyers that you make and things that, kind of grab our community's attention. But maybe we can talk a little bit about what's the best way for our community to stay in touch with us. Because we have things like, virtual workshops or lectures that, our community can come to, or perhaps some of the plant sale, however that format looks in the future. But everybody seems to be online now more than ever. So that virtual aspect, I think, is really important. So maybe we can talk a little bit about some of that we're kind of shifting towards more even in our programming.
Yes, staying up to date on social media. Social media has become such a big explosion now more than ever. So being able to, you can connect with us. I know it's not face-to-face a lot of the times as we would like to be, but following us on Facebook, which you can go into the Facebook search engine and type in @SLCMGV, and you'll be able to pull up the page. We do post 2 to 3 times a week. There's webinars that are on there. There's tips on for your landscaping. Right. There's even some information that's in our gardens that we'll post pictures of. So we want to make sure we keep interactive with the community. It's really important. We have a lot of great stuff and great information that's on there. So that's a way to really keep in touch with us and see what's going on with the Master Gardener program and what our volunteers are doing.
Right.
And also, you know, being able to email our master gardeners. You know, you can email them, you can call the office. You know, there's a lot of different ways that we're finding to stay in communication.
Yeah, even though we're not maybe in person and,
Right.
and offices are closed or open at certain times.
Sure.
But I think one of the things that I appreciate the work that you do with our marketing and social media is, you know, sharing that research-based information where we have a plethora of resources from University of Florida that make it really easy for residents to know a little bit more about anything from certain tree species to, you know, what's maybe on my hibiscus. You know, there's just endless amounts of information on there. But that research-based information we can trust from University of Florida IFAS. But residents, so when they email a master gardener, what does that typically look like? You know, we want them to send pictures,
Correct.
you know, because that really helps.
Oh, yes.
Someone describing a problem in their landscape, I may be seeing something really different.
Right.
But if they can send some pictures, is that something that, you know, we encourage them to do?
We absolutely do. You know, when they send an email, sometimes they'll say, you know, I have this weird looking thing growing, and it's we highly recommend pictures be sent in. You can take them with your phone, you can email them in. You know, 2 to 3 good shots. You know, and also a location in where this item is. So this way we can say if it's in the front of the house, if it's getting a whole lot of sun, if it's not, if it's in the shade, stuff like that.
That's a good point. Kind of the details that we can get from folks. You know, I get a lot of questions from residents myself, and the more, I always think of extension as a little bit of detective work, because you have to ask the right questions to figure out really what that resident may be having issues with in their landscape, where it could be something super obvious where I think, you know, they just say one word and I know what it is. But there's lots of situations that I need a whole lot more information.
Sure.
So same thing with master gardeners. You know, the help desk, the more information we can get from residents will actually really help us to make that educated recommendation of, okay, here's the problem, and here's maybe how we recommend to take care of it.
Sure.
Which isn't, you know, like I said, it's not always obvious. But maybe we can talk a little bit about, we've talked about our existing volunteers, but a little bit about our training program that we normally have coming up in January. We usually start the first of the year, but maybe tell us a little bit about that and you know, how somebody could reach you if they might be interested in that.
Sure. So residents can reach out to me if they're interested. We have a Master Gardener program. It's a 12-week program, and there's you know, a fee, but it includes amazing resources that they get to keep. We have lectures, we have speakers, we have all kinds of great tools for them to learn about the native plants, about pests, you know, different things.
Right.
It's a great program, and we've had a lot of success with master gardeners coming from there and bringing that as an extension of us. They really are.
Right.
To go out into the community and educate. So the program is a great program. Like I said, it's a 12-week program.
And some people might think that's really long. That's a commitment. You know, that really, that 12 weeks is one time, you know,
It's
typically once a week. And, you know, we always say to folks, you're going to learn, you know, I don't know what the saying is, like a little bit about a lot.
Yeah.
Well, you learn a lot about a lot. Because, you know, like we mentioned before, landscaping and gardening in Florida is a whole different animal than anywhere else. You know, I grew up here, so I'm typically used to, you know, a lot of sun, sandy soils, where we have folks that come from all different areas that maybe they planted things at a completely different time, or maybe they don't even grow here.
Right.
And so we do typically have, you know, folks that sign up for the training program that are like, wow, I had no idea how
this
different.
was intense it was going to be.
But it's all good. It's not a scary.
No, it's not. It's a great program. And the thing of it is our classes actually fill up really quick. So there is a waiting list that comes on that we keep running. But yeah, it starts in January. It'll end in April. It's once a week. It's for about 7 hours. We're adjusting some of normally because it's face to face,
Sure.
but because of COVID, we are making some adjustments. But
Sure.
it's a great program, and we've had much success with it. And I'm looking forward to starting it in January.
Yeah,
I really am.
I am too. I think it's going to be really, every year is a little bit different, and we get, different residents, obviously. But we also, within our, I wanted to mention too, within our training program, we have a mentor program where we pair up folks that have gone through the program, whether maybe it was 2 years ago or 20 years ago. We have volunteers that serve as mentors to the newbies and the trainees, and I think that's helpful. If you've ever been through a program, you might not know, like, gosh, am I doing this right? So I think it's kind of neat that our program has that, where we incorporate those veteran Master Gardener volunteers into the program a little bit, even though they've been through it, but they're able to help some of those
and that's something that they really enjoy doing. They love educating and being able to help a newbie come into the world and shadow them when they're on the grounds or whatever projects they're working on. They learn so much, not only from the program, but they also learn other things from their mentor. And the Master Gardeners truly love having that program. One thing is if you're signing up for the program, one thing is giving back to the community, and that would be, you committing to provide a certain amount of hours back into the community. So it's a partnership, but it's a great program, and the mentor program, it's truly amazing. And to see, them flourish. Take them under their wing and sort of get a newbie. Because it is intimidating to, we have a lot of opportunities, I think, for our volunteers to be out in the community. So, a mentor helps that new trainee. They say, hey, well, maybe you and I, Danielle, come on down to the farmer's market. And we're going to set up our table and, help folks that walk by. And maybe you've never heard of the Master Gardener program. So it's kind of nice to have somebody that can show you the ropes a little bit. But it is, it's like we've said, it is a intense training. But I think it's good to mention that we fill up really quickly. And we have, ever since the program has started, we have residents that they're on it. They want to be in that program. So contacting you is really, even if we got to put you on the waiting list, we do have that waiting list for possibly the next year. For the next year, yes.
So always, I think it's encouraging to tell our residents to always stay in touch with us. And like we mentioned, social media, and not, it's a mixed bag. There's people who are really involved with social media, and then folks that, might want to just call or email us, and that's totally fine. I think that's the flexible part about Extension is that we try to reach a broad audience, and we try to reach, all of our community, not just one area or one section of a community. There's different ways that we try to communicate. We still have folks that say, oh, I've never heard of Extension. I've never heard of the Master Gardener program, but that's okay. We'll get to them. But I think it's cool that we have that that want for residents to join our training program. But like you said, those hours that are expected, it is really, giving back to the community is really the core part of that program. Obviously, it's the horticulture training as an extension of you and I and the teaching that we do. But really, the heart of the program is really giving back to the community, and I think that's what is, really appealing to folks that want to join our program. But and it, like we have talked about, even though times are a little bit different, and the physical programming may look a little bit different here and there in the future, but our volunteers still stay very active, and I think that's an important aspect to share with people, that we haven't shut down and we haven't removed ourselves from that program. We're still out there trying to help our residents, and our volunteers are still a very active part of that.
They're very committed. They're very committed. We have volunteers that come and manage and maintain our gardens on Mondays and Thursdays at our extension office. And they are like clockwork. They are there every Monday and every Thursday. And I can't thank them enough for what they do.
We couldn't do a lot of what we do within our urban horticulture program without our volunteers. Like you mentioned, the demonstration gardens, we said our extension campus, it's awesome because it is so huge, but that's a lot of maintenance. And we have demonstration gardens that, we want people to come to and enjoy and learn from, but we need those hands that do even simple things, like weeding. I mean, they don't stop.
No, they'll still keep going.
No,
they'll still come. But I mean, if anybody's interested in learning more about the program, they can call me at 772-462-1660. They can also email me at dshoganevich@ufl.edu. I'm available to give you any information, more than happy. Like we talked about before, some people don't know about the program.
Sure.
I myself, before I came to Extension, did not know about the program. And I'm super excited for it because I'm like, wow, this is great.
Share it with everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's so important to learn and know about what you have in your yards and learning about shampoo ginger.
Right. We talked about that one the other day. Danielle didn't know about when it's on our campus. We have an ornamental ginger that is also called a shampoo ginger and smells wonderful. And
it was amazing. It's a beautiful little thing. And I actually posted it on our Facebook page. So my mind was just like, wow, this is a beautiful little gem.
I learn something every day.
Right, absolutely.
It's a good thing.
So it's great.
One of I think maybe the last thing we've talked about, our volunteers, but I know you're a volunteer yourself in a local organization. And so I know you're passionate about the world of philanthropy and volunteerism and in our community specifically. But what is really the most fun or satisfying aspect of your job? Working with our volunteers, because there's lots of different things that you do. But what's one of the things you really enjoy?
I really enjoy working with the volunteers. I always have. My background is being in volunteer recruitment. And also fundraising, but working with volunteers, especially this group, has been absolutely amazing. I enjoy coming out to them in the morning and saying hi and helping them, and just knowing, the opportunity to learn from them. Not only do I get an opportunity to learn from you, but I also get to learn from them, which is amazing. So I have a whole group of mentors.
Right. That's a good way to think of it. Because they have so many different backgrounds.
They do.
From different workplaces, and they know so many different things about horticulture. That that's a really good. Lots of mentors.
Lots of mentors. I'm surrounded. So and it's amazing to learn and absorb. I'm like a sponge.
There's a lot to it.
There is. So working with them is truly fun and satisfying to me. And what makes me super proud is that knowing that after they train with us and they've been with us for quite some time, seeing them go and speak at garden clubs and other areas in educational programs, that they came from us. So that's pretty amazing to see how they're literally, like I mentioned before, an extension of us.
That really is it, and I think that's cool.
So I'm like, that's our volunteers. That makes me proud. But that's been really fun, learning knowing their personalities and what they know, and being a part of us for so long. We have some ones that have been for about 25 years, 20 years. So it's pretty cool.
That's a commitment for sure. And we get the new ones that are excited too. But they are a fun group, and each training program that we get new ones, and so we add to that diverse group of people. That I think is really neat. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and a little bit about our St. Lucie County Master Gardener Volunteer Program.
Absolutely.
I hope we've let our residents know a little bit more about what we do at Extension and what we do in our St. Lucie County Master Gardener Volunteer Program. And thank you for joining us.